follow suit on that. If there is anything, first of all, let me start over. Welcome to the Net Plus session. We are recording, so just make sure that you try to keep your mics on mute unless you're talking, asking or answering a question, something like that, so we don't catch too much background noise. All right, appreciate that. Secondly, I want you to kind of, follow suit on this. If you guys have concepts that you would like to go over, even if you can't make the session, right? If you can email me and just give me an idea of, what you're looking for. I can tailor like the first, 5, 10, 15 minutes to the concept that you're struggling with. And then at the very least, you can go back and watch the replay, right? Even if you can't attend, you can still get your question answered. And also in a group setting, which is good, right? Because you're not just getting my perspective on things. People like to add stuff too when they get it. So, if you guys come across anything, feel free. If it's something that I feel comfortable explaining, I'll do my best. If it's not, then maybe I will forward you on to Jason. Forward your question or something on to Jason or someone else that can answer. But either way, we're gonna try to get you some help. So, all right. So the concept that was being asked about. Give me a second. Yeah, someone's got some background noise going on here. All right, so it was EUI 64. Okay, this is something that quite a few people get kind of confused about. But it's something that you really, once you visit, it's kind of like subnetting, right? Because you're dealing with the bits, and that's what I like to. In instances, especially like subnetting, sometimes it's easier to look at things the way that the computer does and then translate later. It is for me anyway, when it comes to, like splitting up subnets and things like that. So sometimes it's easier to me to look at it from a bits perspective and then do the translations later. So anyway, so let's go ahead and go into the concept, and then we'll answer any questions that you guys have. So first of all, I guess we're talking about bits. What does anyone here know about EUI 64? Can anyone give me just a FYI or maybe what you think it is?
It's I don't know if this is a peep or what, but it's a way of assigning IP addresses to IPv6, and you use the MAC address of the device, and you inverse bit 7 and add is either FEFF or FFFE into the middle of the MAC.
Yeah, pretty much. So you kind of hit what I was looking for, and you went beyond, which is good. Yeah, basically, I was looking for, right, it's an IPv6 address, and it basically uses the MAC address of a device, right, to create an IPv6 address for that device. And so, like I said, it's kind of, it's not, I don't want to say it's like subnetting because it's not, but, it's dealing with the bits. So when I look at things from a bits perspective, if I understand what's going on, then it makes more sense to me than if I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. So, firstly, before we get into it, let's talk bits. So we already established that this is a this is a process used for IPv6 addresses, right? Who can tell me, I guess, what's the difference? I guess the main difference between IPv4 and IPv6 addresses is pretty important before we get into this.
IPv6 uses hexadecimal, and uses twice the amount of octets.
Right.
I
It
got
just
the
gives
first
you
part.
a bigger pool of the IP addresses.
Okay. Charles, I got the first part, but not the second part. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I was saying that it's hexadecimal format, and it's twice the amount of octets. It's right. It's 8 octets, or is it?
Well, think of it from a bit's perspective, because you're not really dealing in octets. I mean, you kind of are, but at the same time, you're not. And I'll get into that in a second. How many? So don't think of it from an octets perspective. How many bits are in the IPv6 address? How many bits are in the IPv4 address?
And it's 8 versus 32, I think.
Yeah. So there's 32 bits in my IPv4 address. There's 128 in IPv6 address. And this was throwing you. Oh, okay. Right. So that's the first main difference, right? So IPv4. I guess hold on. Let me bring up the other document because it's all the information's already there. So bear with me just a second. It's this one. Nope. It's the other one. This one. Okay. So right here, your bits right here. This is the subnet map. But IPv4 address, you have 4 octets, right? Meaning that there's 8 bits, right? In each section, each numeric carrier is represented by 8 bits, right? So that it's the sum of the value of the 8 bits there, right? You got 4 octets, 8 times 4 is 32, right? So you have 32 bits here, right? And then an IPv6 address, actually it's 128 bits, right? But IPv4 has 2 sections, right? 2 subnet ID, which is your constant, right? This is the part of your IP address that's not going to change in your network, right? And then you have your host portion, which is the variable, and this represents the host on it. With IPv6, it's a little different. There's a the first section is oh god, what is it called? Just escaped me. But there's a subnet section, right, which is like in the middle. Then at the end is your so let me come back here. All right, so the main so there's another difference, right? So someone mentioned octets with IPv4, right? I'm sorry, IPv6. It's not an octet really, right? Because you have, so let me find a MAC address. Just pull up a random one.
So isn't the first part of the IPv6 address, isn't that assigned to you by your IP service provider or your internet service provider? That was like the first 16.
Are you talking about you're talking about the global?
Just the IPv6 address itself. I'll see if I can find my notes. Hang on.
Okay. I'm gonna open, give me just a second. I'm gonna open up this network so I can use it. I'm gonna bring up our topology that we normally play around with. This one here. Okay. So I'm just gonna grab one of these MAC addresses and throw it up here. Just Pick a random one. There we go. All right, so MAC address. Who knows how many bits is in the MAC address? 00. 1D, 3B. All right. So this is like a typical MAC address, right? But the thing that you have to remember is these are not octets, all right? These are actually quad techs, I guess. Right? So let me come back. I hope I didn't close it out. I didn't. All right, good. All right, so with these, right, you have 8 bits, right? I'm just using the subnet mask. Actually, let me use the actual IP address, right? So you have 8, right? And each of these has a value over it. Does everyone kind of understand that, right? You have 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, and 1, right? Okay, so with the hex, it's a little different. You have 4. So instead of 4, this is actually 4 octets, right? Over here, these are actually, this value is represented by 4. Give me a second. I'll make this a little bit bigger. So everyone's following. All right. So this value right here, this is 4 bits. This is 4 bits. This is 4 bits. All right. So with that said, how many bits do we have here?
48.
Yep. You could just multiply if you want. Right? Just 4 times, add them up. 4 times 12, you end up with 48, right? Obviously, the key thing here is 64, right? So that's where your FFFE comes into play. All right, so it's 2 steps when it comes to EUI 64. The first step is you have to get to 64 bits. You're only starting with 48, right? This is just a MAC address. I'll show you. This is the MAC address of one of the laptops in the topology. It's right here. See, so I just copied it over here. All right. So first step is we have to get it to 64. All right, and the way that you do that, this is universal, right? So you come to the middle. Come to the middle of the MAC address, and then you just add FF, right? So this is going to be 4, 8, right? And then this is going to be 12, 16. And that's what we needed, right? 48 plus 16, 64. Everybody agree?
Hey, Tristan, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Normally, when you annotate a MAC address, it's 4 sets of, or 6 sets of 2 numbers, not 3 sets of 4. What do the colons represent? Does it really matter the way you segment it?
Are you talking about when you're translating it? Yeah. So
No, I'm just saying in general, and when you look at a label or pull up your MAC address on your computer anytime, it's 2 hexadecimal numbers, colon, 2 hexadecimal numbers, colon. What do the colons represent? Is there a reason that it's not 4 numbers, colon?
No, it actually makes it an octet, right? But it's still, it's still 4. Right.
So the reason is that just keeping it into octets is a reason for it.
Right. We're doing the IPv6 conversion, so it's better if you look at it from this perspective. But So,
No,
all right.
I understand, and sorry to change the topic. I've just something that I was curious about.
Yeah, no worries. I hear you. If you have questions, you have to ask them, right? Okay. So,
Hey, Christian, quick question for you.
okay.
On that same topic, Mike Myers said I was give a more granular control of the internet by putting those colons in there, semicolons, I mean. So I don't know if that helps, because I didn't get exactly what he meant, except for I got the idea that, okay, there's more, like you said earlier, more IP addresses available, and you're hand out as many to everybody else that for doesn't need. They only need like 15, so why giving them 150? They don't need that many. He said help to change that aspect of things how he went down from that route, if that helps anybody.
So, yeah. Okay. So everyone's still with me, right? All I
Yep.
did was I just added the extra 16 that we needed to the middle. So I went to the middle of the MAC address and I added the extra 16, right? And we put the colons in the middle. So that's step one to your EUI. And then the second step is pretty simple. Charles said it earlier. You just flip the 7th bit, right? So if you're going from left to right, where would you find the 7th bit? Anyone? Okay, so
In the second number, because each number represents 4 bits.
yeah, so the first number represents the first 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, right? 9, 10, 11, 12, and so on. So you go to the second number, right? And you just binary it out. Really, like I said, remember, think of it from a bits perspective. So if I take 0, right? How is that represented in binary? There's 4 bits. Obviously, 0 would be all zeros, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So all you do is you find the 7th bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Keep in mind your placeholders. Your placeholders are always here, but now instead of 8 of them, you stop at 8. So you have 1, 2, then you have 4, then you have 8, right? Oh, you know what? I forgot. I forgot the hexadecimal conversions. That I forgot. We don't need it for this one, but it's gonna, you're gonna need it eventually. So I'll show you that in just a second. But right now, all you have to do is you just have to flip the bit. So right now it's a 0, so you turn it into a 1, right? And so you're actually let me take this out. So we have an original, and then we have a 16 EB. So this is the original, right? And then this is the 0, 0, 0, 2, 16, FF, FE, EB, and then so it will look like this with the 7 bit flip. So when you flip this, right, you turn this on. This placeholder is a 2, right? So that would basically turn this bit into a 2. That's basically it. Now, the part that I forgot was to show you the conversion, right? So obviously, there's letters in here as well, right? When you're talking about hexadecimal. So the thing that you just have to keep in mind is all the numbers are represented, all the numbers up to 9 are represented by what they are, right? So come over here. All right, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right, these are all represented by the actual numbers. Okay, and when you get to 10, when it changes a little bit. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Does anyone know why I stopped at 15? Nobody? Same reason that you stop at 255 on the segment mask.
Yeah, because 0 counts as a number. So that is your 16th number.
Well, wait 1 second. Give me a second. What I was getting at is from a bits perspective, right? Thinking of it from a bits perspective. So you can't go over F, right? Because you can't go over 15. And the reason for that is because if I turn all of these on, what do I get? What do you think I get? $15, right? 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 plus 8 is 15. So that's why. So when you're looking up here, right? These representations of these letters, representations, it just means that this is what it is, right? So when you see an A or when you see a B, you just know that that's 11, right? When you see a D, you know that that is 13, right? First 9 are going to be what they are. If you see it, that's fine, right? So let's say, for instance, we'll stick with the same MAC address, but I'm just going to change the bit, right? So this time, instead of it being a 0, for whatever reason, right? We'll just say that it's a 2 this time. All right, it's the exact same process, right? All you need to do is you just need to find out the value of C and then flip the bit, right? How do you get to C? So C is 12 here, right? So if I come here, what I need to do is 12, right? How do I get 12? Well, 8 has to be on, right? I'm assuming 8 is on if you're going for 12. 3 isn't on because that's 11. Wait, 8, 4. Okay, yeah, 8 and 4. So it will look like this, right? 1, 2, 4, 8. So this is what it would look like. So in this instance, same thing, right? Since on 12, the 7th bit is off, you just flip it to on, right? That's all you do. And then now you just add it up, right? So now you have 12 plus 2, right? Which gives you 14. So now it should look like this. What did I do wrong? Oh, should be E, right?
Yeah, correct, because that'd be 14, which is E.
Yeah. So this is what it will look like in this instance. Okay. So the main thing that you really have to remember is just, remember this chart. Remember how to convert these. If you know how to convert these, then it's just like Subnet is about the bits. That's it. If you simplify it like that, it makes it a lot easier than like trying to figure this out the other way. Like at some point you'll get good enough to when you see the second bit, you already know what this is. And you know if 2 is on or not, right? If it's, I don't know, if it's 5, then obviously 2 isn't on, right? So you turn it on and it would turn to 7 because you're adding 2. You're either adding 2 or you're subtracting 2. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. So on the second bit, if you can remember that, just add FF colon EE, right, to the middle of your IPv6 address. And then the second bit is either going to increase or it's going to decrease by 2, depending on if 2 is on or not. So once you get good enough to where you have these in your head, you probably won't even need to do this. But For now, you just need to remember the chart, right? You don't have anything over F. It doesn't go higher than F because when you turn all these bits on, you get 15. Right? It's just like a subnet mask. If I go, right, you can't have any more than 255, right? So you're just looking at it from a different perspective. With IP, it's the same thing. It's just, you just switch it up a little bit. IPv4, you have 8 bits, right? So you're dealing with, but you're only dealing with numerics, right? When you come to hex, you're only dealing with 4 bits, right? But there's 5 of them that are represented by these letters here. So you just got to remember that. Other than that, I mean, it's not as difficult as it sounds. I mean, sometimes it's hard for me to explain this stuff the way I understand it. But when I break it down to bits, it makes a lot more sense to me. So, does that make sense to you guys? You guys want to do another one? The rule for plus or minus, Wayne?
Yeah.
Is,
go ahead. Sorry, please. I'll shut up.
no worries. Yeah, the rule for plus or minus is it just depends on if the bit is on or not. So here, right, let's say that we had 1. If this was a 1, then obviously the second bit isn't on, right? Only the first bit is. So, or actually, let's start with 0, right? So with 0, the 2 isn't on, right? So this would be plus. With 1, same thing. The 2 isn't on, so this would be plus, right? With 2 is on, and then when you flip it, it would be off. So this would be minus, right? Same thing here. If it's 3, then 2 is on, so it would be minus. Because with 3, you would have 3 will look like that, right? 1 and 2. 2 is on, so it's minus. With 4, the 2 is off, right? Because it would look like this, right? So in this instance, you would add 2, right? It really just matters what this number is. If the number here includes the 2, then you're going to subtract 2, right? If it doesn't, then you're going to add it. That's basically what it boils down to. That's how you know. All right. The other part should be easy because you just added FFFE, right? You're just trying to get enough bits. But the second part is just understanding what number is this, and is this representation using the 7th bit or not, right? Is the 7th bit turned on here or not? And if it is, then you turn it off. If it isn't, then you turn it on. But that's what happens. And then look, if I can bring this over here, right? This is the same MAC address that we just used for the process, right? Actually, this isn't going to work because I changed it. No worries. But I mean, you'll see. It's the same thing when you're coming up with a link local. What happens is you end up with like your MAC address with FFFE in the middle, right? And then you just flip the 7-bit. This looks different because of 1, it's a link local, and then 2, I changed it, right? But it should look the way that I did it before.
That makes sense. That doesn't make it. We're good. I got it. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Does anyone have any questions about it? Do you want to do another one? Or do you guys pretty much have it? Racine says do another one. Okay. Let's do another one. Let me find another MAC address. Okay. Let me just grab another device. I don't like that one. I want to do it different. Make it something else. Okay, so let me do this. All right. So let's turn this into a EUI 64. First step. What do we do first? Somebody tell me. Oh, Charles gave me one. Well, let's use that one then. Let's use Charles's. All right. So C8, F7, 50B5, and 3A7. Wait. Okay. So let's do this one. First, remember it's only two, so two main steps. But hey, Kareem, what's going on? Make this a little bit bigger. Somebody knows, right? What do we do first?
Add the FFFE to the middle.
Yep. Right. So we need to get to 64, right? So FF, we only got 48 now. FE, right? Next step. We have to find the 7th bit, right? Actually, let me. There we go. All right. So, so what's the second bit gonna be? Or not the second bit? I'm sorry. 7 bits would be under the 8, right? So what would this change to? Let's see what you guys are saying down there. No one picked one yet, right?
They changed it to an A.
Right. So this is 8 right now, right? So let's put it in 8 right. Let's put in 8 right here. So this would be 4. We would need 4. Or actually, we would need just that one, 8. Right? That's the only one. That's the only bit that's on. So with this being the 7th bit, we need to turn this one on, right? Where are we at now? No guessing?
So like Paul said, that's 10, which is A.
Yeah, absolutely. A. Right? So we didn't finish going down the list, right? But yeah, once you get into, so basically we added 2 to 8 since 2 was off, we have to add 2 to 8, which made it 10. 10 is represented by A, right? So there we are. Now we just need F7, right? And then 5OFF, right? And then FE, B5, right? And then 3A70, right? So this is what we should be looking like. So just get used to doing this. You know, like this is the easy part, right? Finding the middle and adding FF, FE, that's the easy part. The hard part is just, you know, figuring out, do I add 2 to this or do I take 2 away? It's always going to be 2, right? Because of the bit, the placement of the bit. So you're either adding 2 or you're taking 2 away, just depending on how the binary of this looks. Does that make sense to everybody?
Don't we also do the inverse on the last portion of the address? So wouldn't it end in 07 alpha 3? Or am I getting mixed up with something?
No, I think you're getting mixed up with something. It should look like this. The only steps that you do is you add the 16 bits to the middle, and then you just flip the 7th bit. So when it comes to this, All right. It'll just take a little practice. Just it's pretty simple actually. Just you all have devices on your networks, so it shouldn't be too hard to find MAC addresses, right? Find some MAC addresses and then just kind of practice doing this. That's what I would do. All right. When it comes to the exam, they may ask you to do this, right? They may give you a MAC address and say, okay, what is the EUI 64 equivalent of this? Okay, so the main thing, just kind of look for the middle. Make sure that FFFE is there, right? If it's there, then the first part of it is there. If it's not, it's invalid off the bat, right? It's one that you can eliminate. Okay, and then the second part is just kind of understanding, okay, which bit do I need to be changing, right? Which one needs to be changed? If you find an answer down there where the second bit is the same, well, it's invalid again, right? So you know that the second representation here, right? This is going to change, and then you're going to have, obviously, you're going to have 64 bits, hopefully, but you should be looking for the ones that have FFFE in the middle. Okay. I don't anticipate you seeing a lot on this. It's good to know how to do it. Okay. I don't remember if I got one on this or not on my exam. I can't even remember. So if it did, it didn't make an impression, right? But if you know how to do this, then you should be good. Because like I said, it just boils down to the bits. It's kind of like subnetting, right? If you think of it from the bits perspective, and as long as you can translate, then you should be fine.
Christian, quick question for you about this.
Sure.
So, this is probably not, you said we don't need for the test. Just know that part of the test. That's great. So my question is just a daily use for your life. We're actually working in a real situation. Will we be need to do this? Will this be done? Can we do it on a calculator on our phone or something? I mean, I want to know what's the best way to do this and the best way to learn to do this. I know we need to learn it. But is this something we're really going to be dealing with a lot of, do you think? Or is this still coming down the turnpike? We don't need to worry about it. What is your opinion about that? And how soon should we try to get this to understand this better?
For the exam, you need to know how to do this. For real life, it's done automatically. It's something that a lot of your devices, when they're creating link local IPv6 addresses, right, for specific devices, 9 times out of 10 is using this, right? It's like let me see if I can find it. Actually, yeah, this is it, right? So look right here, right? This is one of the devices in my topology right here that we're gonna be troubleshooting in just a second. We still have some time, so if I click on one of these devices here, right? So let's say this one right here, PC3. If I click on this device and I go into the config, right? I'm gonna come to Fast Ethernet real quick. You can see the MAC address right here, right? I haven't done anything to this. If you come down here and look at this link local address, it did the exact same thing that we just did, right? You see FFFE in the middle, right? Hopefully you guys can see that. I know it's kind of small, and then you can see that the next bit, right, was 0, and if the representation is 0, that means that the second bit is off, right? Or the 7th bit is off. You turn it on, you get 2, right? So it's already here. This is not something that you're going to be physically going in and doing, because 9 times out of 10, it's already been done, and you don't even know it. But for exam purposes, yeah, you want to make sure that you understand how to do that, the process behind it. All right, so I hope that answers your question. It's not something that you're going to be physically going in there and doing to devices. 9 times out of 10, it's automated. It's going to happen without you even knowing it.
Okay, that makes sense. I was just checking just to see, FYI. But thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. A lot of the concepts here that you guys are learning, this stuff is you know, once you get to a certain point, the stuff is automated. You're not going in there and really doing that stuff. It's just you have to have the understanding of it, so you know when something's wrong, when something's right, and when something isn't wrong, right? Because then you'll know how to fix it. Which brings us to our activity. We have about 20 minutes left, so I figured that we can do some troubleshooting. Does anyone have any other questions about EUI 64? Okay. It just takes practice. You know, like anything else. You do it a few times, and you know it'll start to kind of imprint in your memory. And you'll be doing stuff without even thinking about it. So, okay. So this is a topology everyone should probably be familiar with. Been using it for like a year, maybe a little more. So last week I had like an ACL or something, right? Which that was good troubleshooting actually, because I really didn't know what was wrong with it. So, this week I do know what's wrong with it. So I kind of want you guys to kind of figure out what's going on with this topology. So, what I'm going to do is tell you that there's at least one device in each subnet that shouldn't be working. Okay, I went in there and broke it. Maybe it fixed itself. Hold on, let me double check, make sure it didn't fix itself. Check off screen. Okay, yeah, so it should still be broken. Okay. All right, so there's a device in each subnet that shouldn't be able to work. My question is, how do we find that device? What's a good way to find a broken device or a device that isn't working right?
NetScan?
I'm actually being kind of a smart ass.
You want to ping it?
So normally what happens if something's not working is someone's going to call and tell you, right?
Right.
They're going to call and tell you, they're going to send you an email, they're going to say, hey, I can't get to the internet, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. All right, so obviously we don't have people working at these stations. So, yeah, pinging would probably be the best way, right, to kind of find out which device is working and which ones aren't. And for the sake of time, I want to do quick pings because we only have like 15 minutes left. So I guess we can do regular pings, right? So let's start here, right? We want to find out which one of these devices isn't working. What should we do?
Overall run and see if they have an IP path.
Yeah, well, let's assume we can't do that.
Try to ping the gateway.
Yeah, ping the gateway. All right. Find out which one can reach the gateway and which one can't. So let's start here. Ping 192.1.0, right? Got responses there, so we should be good. This one, same deal. Ping 192.168.1.0. Responses with it there. Everything here. 192.168.1.0. That's not going to work, right? That should work. Good. It's not that device. You guys get the idea, right? Good. Good. Okay, so I'm gonna quick ping now, which you'll see the results down here. Let me delete that and use this. Okay, so I'm gonna click here. If it's good, it'll go through and display successful. So it probably has to be this one. Let's see. Failed. Okay, so we found the one that isn't working. What should we do from here, right? We just ping the gateway, no response. Who has an idea of which
Just like I said, the obvious stuff is other than pinging is just checking the physical stuff, connecting the connections. Are we going to do that, or are we past that in this part of troubleshooting?
Well, no, that is part of it. You're absolutely right. Fortunately, here we can tell if the connection is up or not, right? Because we have this little, that's what these little green arrows represent. If the interface goes down or something's wrong with the connection, then you'll see red on one end. Sometimes you'll see yellow. So let's assume that all the connections are good, right? If you do a ping, what's the next thing, right? Think simple, right? I'm not trying to confuse anyone or go over anyone's head. I'm just, we're just going through the process, right? So we try to ping the gateway and it failed. What's the next step?
See if the other, well, since we see the greens, but you would make sure that we're the only ones that's not able to reach the gateway and check some other device. But you're saying that at this point we're at one.
Yeah, we already checked all these devices, right?
Right.
We got to this one level. So
We'll make sure
we know
it's
all
getting
these
an
devices.
IP address.
The IP address, right? You want to check the IP settings. So that's something that we can do. Let's do that. Desktop. Command prompt. Which command are we going to run?
IP config.
IP config. Right? We're looking for IP information. Right? So we're going to do IP config, and I'm going to say all. So it'll give us, it normally gives you the most information. Here, not so much. But if you do this on like your local machine, you're going to get like a whole library of information. So let's take a look here. The connection looks good, right? And all the other PCs weren't having any trouble reaching the gateway.
And in this system, just to recap, it's like the IP, this command.
Say that again?
Oh, no, I was just saying that the command here would just show that all the IP devices that's been connected to this particular gateway when you do this command.
Well, when you run IP config on an end device, basically it just gives you its IP information. That's basically it. So, looking at the IP information, how does it look to you? Does it look right? Does it look wrong? Does it look like something's missing?
It looks right to me.
It looks right to you? What about everyone else?
It looks wrong. There's no address to the default gateway.
Right. So there's no default gateway.
I forgot to look for that.
No default gateway, one. And the other one, it's pretty subtle, right? And if you don't pay real close attention, it's easy to miss.
So it's a static IP address?
Does the subnet say 266?
The subnet says 255.255.255, right? Which octet should be changing? This is a /24, right? Look at the IP address and look at this is our subnet here.
Yep, I see it. It's the second octet
right?
should be a 1, or the third octet should be a
But
1.
yeah, that third octet was wrong.
Yeah, this device here is on a totally different network. Even though the connection looks good and the connection is good, the config is wrong, right? This should be 192.168.1. This is on a totally different subnet, even though the subnet mask is the same too, right? And so, with that said, that's the reason that you're not able to reach this device, or you're not able to ping, because you're pinging a device that's on another network, right? It's very important to be able to spot stuff like this. I know it's subtle, and I know that, you know, it's real easy to overlook, right? I was telling you guys a story about my printer a few weeks ago, right? I had an APIPA address on my printer, and I didn't even notice it until I looked at the subnet map. And then I went back up and I was like, oh, wow. Right? So trust me, I know how easy it is to miss stuff like this, especially when it's this close. But always double check, always look, triple check if you have to, right? Because 9 times out of 10, it's probably something either here or something with your gateway, right? Especially if the connection's good, it has to be something with the IP info, right? Something has to be wrong over here. So to fix this, we basically have to go in and come back to our config over here, and then we just have to pick an IP address that's going to be on the network, obviously. I think that's the IP address I have for this. So in a real world scenario, we have a DHCP. Excuse me. We have a DHCP server right here, so we can just click on DHCP. And this is how you avoid, making mistakes like that. You just let the config do everything on its own. And now we should be able to ping the gateway. And it's successful now. So, all right. That was a nice, how much time we have left? Oh, not much. How about we save the rest for next week? You guys want to?
Sure.
We can do one more. Or, it's up to you guys. Actually,
Sure.
yeah, let's save the rest for next week, because we only got a few minutes left, and I want to keep you guys. And then we already have something kind of in line for next week. So I'll fix this side. Let me save it.
Thank you,
Let me
Tristan.
save the config. Yeah, no problem. Save the config, and then we'll come back to it next week. Any other questions on EUI 64 for anyone? You guys pretty much get it? Okay.
I think I got
All
it
right.
now. You did great. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no problem. No problem at all. Just trying to help. You guys have any other questions between now and next week, just let me know. And if anything comes up, like this, for instance, email me, and I'll try to cook up an exercise or something that kind of addresses, what it is that you guys are looking for. So let me get the names real quick, and then you guys can pick up.